Hello, my friends, and welcome to DIY with Nadia. Now, let's get started on our first craft. For this DIY, I will be using the Simply Blessed calendar, and I'm going to use the picture that says Live the Simple Life. Next, I'm going to grab this fall sign from the Dollar Tree, and it is 11 by 11 inches, just like the calendar. And I'm going to Mod Podge the calendar page onto the back of this sign. Now I'm just smoothing out the calendar page from the inside out, making sure everything is nice and smooth. To make the border on this project, I will be using these tumbling tower blocks that I got at the Dollar Tree, and you are going to need 22 of them. I gave all the blocks 2 coats of white chalk paint in the front and 2 sides. And then after I was done with that, I grabbed 4 of the little blocks and then I painted the short little side. And I'm going to be using those 4 blocks to put in the corners of the frame. Before hot gluing my blocks, I am going to lay them out all around the frame to make sure they're where I want them to be. And I started in the top middle, right there where that little hole is to hang the calendar. I kind of just put 2 blocks on top and just made my way all the way around. Now I'm just hot gluing all the pieces in, and I'm starting right at the top center, just like I laid the blocks out. This fuzzy greenery is what I get during the spring summer at the Dollar Tree, and this is my absolute favorite greenery at the Dollar Tree. I use it throughout the whole year, so yes, I have a lot of it. And I just use different parts and different DIYs. Here I'm going to be using these lilac pieces, and I'm just taking the greenery from the lilac stems, and then I'm going to cut off the little edge at the bottom because that little stub is just, I didn't want it sticking out anywhere. In the same direction that you see the greenery on our sign, that is how I will be hot gluing our greenery. And I'm just going to go all the way around until I feel like it's full enough. In case I wanted to hang this DIY, I decided to hot glue a piece of jute cord to the back. I will be using this God Bless This Farm calendar from the Dollar Tree for this project, and I'm using it because of this horse, and it was inspired by my mom. My mom loves horses, so I just did this kind of thinking of her, and I just thought this picture was so gorgeous. What I'm going to do is I'm going to keep that cardboard that keeps the calendar straight, and now I'm using some tacky glue to attach my picture to the cardboard. For a smoother look, I always like to take a little brush and just brush it over the glue to smooth it out. And then I wash the brush right after I'm done doing this part. For my top and bottom border, I will be using these huge paint sticks that I got at my local hardware store, and I'm going to cut them down to 12 inches. I know the ruler is right on there, but I still wanted to make sure, just in case the ruler was off, to measure off my 12 inches. Now I'm just using my miter box and hacksaw to cut off the excess. Next, grabbing some sandpaper, I'm smoothing out the edges and then giving the stir sticks 2 coats of white Rust-Oleum chalk paint in linen white. I wanted to give this project a more of a farmhouse look, so I decided to do a little dry brushing on top of my white stir sticks. I'm mixing together zinc, which is a gray shade by Americana, along with some white acrylic paint to just lighten it up a little bit. And I'm using the shabbiest brush I got. I got this one from the Dollar Tree and absolutely love it. And I'm going to very, very lightly just go over my sticks. To the stir stick that is going to go on top of my project, I'm going to attach a piece of jute cord to the back of the stir stick and then hot glue it to the top of my project. For embellishment, I will be using this buffalo check gingham ribbon from the Dollar Tree, and I absolutely love this ribbon. This is one of my favorites for sure. And I'm just going to center it on each one of my stir sticks and hot glue the ribbons at the back of the project. I got this sweet little house at the Dollar Tree during the fall season this year, and I'm going to remove the jute cord that's attached on top, then the little circle, and we are going to be reusing the circle, so hang on to that. And then I'm going to just sand everything down so it's nice and smooth. Since I'm starting on the back side first, I am also going to remove the stickers on here, and I'm just using a hot glue gun to remove the stickers. You can also use a hair dryer, and then afterwards, because the sticky part is still there, I'm just going to sand it down just a little bit with the Dollar Tree sandpaper. Now that my house is nice and smooth, I'm going to give it 2 coats of white Rust-Oleum chalk paint in linen white. While I'm at it, I'm going to grab the circle and give the circle 2 coats of white chalk paint. Now I'm going to the back of the calendar and I'm going to use this Simply Blessed little picture. Cut it out as close to the edge as I can so I can center it well on my little circle. And I'm going to use Mod Podge to attach it to the circle and then put it to the side to dry. Now I'm going to work on the back side of the house. I'm mixing my zinc gray by Americana along with white acrylic, and I'm going to start dry brushing it on the house. I do want my house to look more gray than white, but I'm still going to bring in the gray very slowly and then just build it up. Now I'm using a pure zinc gray, which means just a darker gray, and I'm going to make lines to make it look like planks. I always smooth my lines out after I paint, especially if I'm not dry brushing, I'm painting. I definitely like to soften things up. Now I'm going to grab just a little bit more and make imperfections in my little wood. So I'm just going to dab here and there, just wherever I feel like it, to make it look like there's just dabs and little grooves in the wood. And then I'm grabbing these stickers that I got at the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to grab one that looks like a little wreath and it says enjoy today. And then I'm using this little greenhouse and I'm just going to put it at the bottom. Now I'm just putting a little cardboard down so I don't scratch the stickers, and we're going to work on the front side. The first thing I'm doing is I'm just cutting out the circle that we did before. And now I'm grabbing some of this buffalo check ribbon that I love, and I'm going to cinch the edge and then measure how much I need, cut it off, and then cinch the other edge. The reason I'm doing this is because this is a two-sided house and I want to leave it kind of like maybe on a coffee table. I need everything to look very crisp and nice, and hot glued that little strip of ribbon to the bottom of my little house. Using the same gingham ribbon, I'm going to make a cute little bow. I'm making a simple bow, and then using a needle and a thread, I'm going to bring it together and cinch it really tight in the middle. What that does is it makes the little loops poof out a little bit, and I just think the bow is much prettier when you cinch the middle really tight. Now I'm just making a few knots in the back of the bow to make sure my thread is nice and secure. Then I'm just cutting off the excess tail and singeing the edges. Now I'm grabbing a little bit of greenery from the spring florals that I absolutely adore, and I'm just going to put 2 little vines towards the center of the house, hot glue the bow in the center, and then the little round piece that we did. I wanted to do that last to make sure that it's nice and centered. For a finishing touch, I'm just hot gluing a pearl sticker to the center of the bow. For this project, we are going to use this farmer's market calendar, and I'm going to grab the little picture that says wool, and then I'm using a picture frame that is 8 by 10. After removing all the backing from the picture frame, I'm going to measure where to cut my sign. What you do is just put the glass right over the picture and decide where you want to cut. I kind of decided to make life a little bit more difficult, and I just measured the little edges. Now I'm just using my cutting tool to cut my little picture to size. Next, I'm going to give my frame 2 coats of white Rust-Oleum chalk paint in linen white and let it dry for an hour. Next, I'm going to grab some cotton balls, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to hot glue the cotton balls all over the picture frame, nice and tight, one next to each other. And I hope you understand the humor and the cuteness in this little picture frame. Let me know what you think about it down below. And now I'm just putting the picture into the frame. I do recommend using the glass. The reason I did not is because I knew I was going to have a hard time taking pictures with the glass. But after I shot the pictures, I did put the glass in. And now I actually display this in my office because I think it's so darn cute. For this project, I will be using this Simply Blessed calendar, and I love this Be Kind sign on there. So I'm going to grab this plank from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to place it so that the wording is at the bottom right of my little sign. And I did not want any greenery, so that's why I kind of had to move it to the side. Now I'm just tracing the image and cutting it out. So I decided to use this Dollar Tree spray glue to attach my little sign. And long story short, it did not work. I had such a hard time. Finally, I just sprayed and sprayed and sprayed, then put the sign upside down and put a heavy can of paint on top. It did stay on really well, but it just took so much and it kept on curling up. In the future, I will not be using this method in similar projects. For the edges, I'm using a furniture marker I had on hand, but you can also use just a brown marker or a dark black marker and just fill in those sides so they don't stand out so much. Grabbing my Dollar Tree greenery that I love, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab greenery that's going to cascade down on that side. To complete the greenery, I'm grabbing some of these berries that also came in those spring bundles, a little bit cascading down, a little bit to the side, and that's it. We're done with the greenery. For the bow, I'm grabbing a white grosgrain ribbon, measuring how much I needed, and then I'm just going to hot glue some burlap on top of my ribbon, bring it together with some floral wire, and then grab another piece of that grosgrain white ribbon, put it over the center of the bow, and hot glued it in the back and then onto my sign. And then put the bow at the top left corner. That way it just balances everything out. We have the bow and the greenery on one side and the Be Kind wording on the other. What do you guys think? How do you think this sign came out? I hope you enjoyed these Dollar Tree calendar picture DIYs. Let me know down below which one was your favorite. If you are new to this channel and love Dollar Tree DIYs, wreaths, and more, please consider subscribing, hitting the bell, and the thumbs up. With that being said, I will see you all in my next video. Bye, guys!